This is African American History is American History. Welcome. I'm your host, Harlan Kearsley. This program's goal is to foster understanding, promote discussion, and expand knowledge through stories of historical events, bios of unsung heroes, as well as timely and relevant news stories which hopefully will paint a vivid picture of the effects of segregation, discrimination, and bigotry on the lives of both blacks and whites. Comparisons will be made between the many racially fractured periods of American history and what's going on right now. The March on Washington, the Woolworth sit-ins, Governor George Wallace vowing,
"I draw the line in the dust and toss the gauntlet before the feet of tyranny, and I say segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever."
Children's Crusade, the sedition trial in Americus, Georgia, the Chicago school boycott, the bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, the murder of William Moore, a white postal worker and civil rights activist, and the assassinations of Medgar Evers and President John F. Kennedy. These are but a few of the historic incidents that contributed to making 1963 an extremely pivotal year for civil rights in America. In 1963, the New York Times published more stories about civil rights in America in just 2 weeks than it had in the previous 2 years. From the South, reports of black children being hauled off to jail simply for marching against segregation. Black and white men and women being beaten and harassed by whites during Woolworth sit-ins. White police officers turning dogs on protesters. White firefighters literally knocking peaceful protesters off their feet with high-pressure hoses. And many of these incidents weren't just televised here in America, but around the world. In Part 2 of 1963, A Pivotal Year for Civil Rights, we'll focus on August 28th, 1963. That was the day of the March for Jobs and Freedom in Washington, D.C. This has been African American History is American History. The episode you've been listening to, 1963, A Pivotal Year for Civil Rights, was written and directed by Harlan Kearsley. I'm Harlan Kearsley. Thank you for listening. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe. Once you do, you'll be notified as soon as new episodes are posted. Thanks again. African American History is American History. Copyright H.C. Kearsley, 2018.